Ricardo, this has been a crazy week for football, right? The Jets upsetting the Bills, for one, is insane in and of itself. 20-17 final score. The Jets took it over the Buffalo Bills. The Buccaneers coming back, a vintage comeback for Tom Brady in the fourth quarter with 45 seconds left against the Los Angeles Rams. And on top of that, too, we had the Eagles having some difficulties against the Houston Texans.
Oh, absolutely. It's a great week of football, Jose. I'm just excited to talk about it. There's plenty of storylines heading into this week and a lot more drama coming in for this specific week heading on to Thanksgiving, which is coming close, which is why I always say wait till we're after Thanksgiving. It's coming.
Absolutely. So let's not waste any time. I am Jose.
And I'm Ricardo.
And welcome back to RJ Talks, everybody. All right, sir. First game of this week that we should be talking about is the Buffalo Bills versus the New York Jets. 20-17 upset. The New York Jets definitely beat out the Buffalo Bills. However, it seemed like the game was going a certain way, especially early on with the early interception for Josh Allen. Right? Mm-hmm. So it seemed like it was going a certain way, especially with the New York Jets defense stepping up these past few weeks, and they were definitely no stranger to doing that this week. So you, Ricardo, being the defensive guru of the two of us, I think you should definitely elaborate on this a little bit more.
No, absolutely, Jose. Beautiful game plan that the New York Jets did. They pretty much forced Josh Allen to play play dink and dunk and not force him to get any of those deep plays on there. Some of it being Sauce Gardner going man-on-man on Stephon Diggs or Gabe Davis. Other being some zone coverage as well to help out that secondary back there. What I did not expect, Jose, is the pressure that front seven would bring.
Oh, absolutely. Allen. Absolutely. Yep.
No, it's just incredible. I would say it's very much a team-oriented win for the New York Jets as each player and each part of their strength made an incredible play. Whether it be Sauce Gardner with with timely tips without going too far ahead of ourselves, whether it's C.J. Mosley putting pressure on Josh Allen, getting some hits, and whether it be the rookie causing a key turnover in the game and possibly a very, very pivotal moments for Josh Allen's season. We'll get into that one a little bit later. But pretty much what it came down to, Jose, is that they played they played two deep safety. They played two deep safety, and they just kept the game in front of them. And there were times where they got burnt, a little bit of times where they got burnt, but it wasn't the Bills' offense that was just unstoppable. They just forced them to say, we are not going to let you get your big plays off of us. We're going to force you to take some chunks out of it. Honestly, that's why I'm surprised we didn't see Dawson Knox get more receptions than he did, or specifically the check down, whether it be James Cook or Devin Singletary.
For sure.
It's just the Jets relied on the fact that they knew the Bills' hubris, their arrogance, that they would want to win by big plays. Get by big plays, and it'd be Josh Allen central and shut him completely down when it came to running the football with their running backs. Not Josh Allen. Keep in mind, the running backs. To force Josh Allen to win this game on himself. And, Jose, they held him to 0 touchdowns, and they got 2 picks off of them. What more can you ask from a defense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Against one of the most elite quarterbacks in the NFL, for sure. Now, to go off of what you were saying, Ricardo, I liked everything that you just said. The Jets' defense was really forcing Josh Allen to run, right? They forced himself, not the running back, to run, right? Yep. Now, that also gained Josh Allen 2 touchdown runs in the first half of the game, right? So those two touchdown runs were definitely helpful for the Buffalo Bills offense, and it showed that the Buffalo Bills offense could still be effective even under that pressure. However, the Jets defense really started to step up in the second half with Sauce Gardner, his pick in the game leading to a touchdown drive for the New York Jets. On top of that, too, Jermaine Johnson's sack led to a Buffalo Bills punt. Let's not forget him either, right? He's a rookie on the scene as well. So the fact that Jermaine Johnson was able to step up and actually sack Josh Allen and led the Buffalo Bills very late in the game to a punt that turned the game around for them. Absolutely. Go ahead, Ricardo.
Really quickly, and I'll let you keep going. Jermaine Johnson, people might forget. You and I remembered this pick early on in the draft in the first round. They came back to pick up another key player. Just made an impact this past game against a divisional opponent. There goes to show that the Jets are in a good direction going so far. But anyways, keep going, Jose.
No, absolutely. Bring that back. Oh no, absolutely. I was actually nearly done. So it was good that you actually brought that up, because the Jets defense alone is just looking so very, very, very strong. Now, speaking of rookies for the New York Jets, it seems like Garrett Wilson didn't make much of a statement this game in particular. However, it doesn't mean that he has no promise moving forward, right? Garrett Wilson is still looking like the Garrett Wilson of college, which makes it look like he can definitely make a statement for this team, right? Now, the defense specifically, right, just going on that track once again, one more point that I wanted to make on them is the fact that Josh Allen was sacked 5 times this game, Ricardo. 5 times. The defensive line for the New York Jets just did not want to let up against the front 5 of the Buffalo Bills offense. So they definitely gave Josh Allen a run for their money. Granted, it was a divisional game and they were at home, right? The New York Jets were at home, so we could very easily have given them the split, but let's be completely honest, Ricardo. Let's level with the audience here. We did not expect the New York Jets to be anything this season.
I expected some promise, Jose, like a little bit. But my goodness, like these young guys are ready to play. Like Jermaine Johnson showing up into the scene and sacking Josh Allen. I don't think people understand how impressive that is with one of the top O-lines in the league, with one of the most mobile quarterbacks and the biggest quarterback in the league. To start that off on your rookie season, Sauce Gardner, Jose, it's just let's just call the rookie of the year discussion over, and it's Sauce. It's Sauce. There's no question. I love Aiden Hutchinson, but Sauce is showing to be a top 5 corner, bar none in the league.
9 weeks in, it is very easily Sauce Gardner at this point. Now, Aiden Hutchinson has still proven to be a very effective defender on the Detroit Lions defense. However, he hasn't made as big of a statement as Sauce Gardner has at this point.
We'll get into him a little bit later with that later game. Yes, but to bring up your point, Jose, the best way I've heard it described on TV is that the New York Jets seem 1 year ahead of schedule. Like, this is what we expected later on. Like, guys developing and showing promise on the field. Not right now. Right now, they're showing promise, and to be quite honest with you, man, they're fighting Miami for that wild card spot coming off the AFC East.
Did we ever expect that the New York Jets would be fighting for that top playoff spot?
No, we would not expect them, let alone to sniff the playoffs. We thought maybe if they're lucky 500. Right now they're 6-3.
Now, Ricardo, you know it really hurts me to say that my New England Patriots are the bottom team in this division. But it seems like the top 3 teams have definitely earned their positions in the division so far.
Oh yeah.
And we'll definitely
we got to give him some credit here, Jose, because he didn't ruin the game, but he still looked mediocre. Zach Wilson, another game with no turnovers and a passing touchdown in a close game, was able to just took what the defense gave him and not force anything. And he seems to be taking a little bit of the advice of just throw in the pocket, focus on being in the pocket and being better. You're not going to out-fool anybody doing that fancy play calling over there. Mm-hmm. But anyways, let's keep going.
No, you are most definitely correct. Zach Wilson did have a slightly better game this time around, and when I say slightly better, it means that he didn't have any freaking picks, right? So the fact that he didn't have any picks means that he is moving in the right direction. But I don't know if you have anything more to say on this game, Ricardo. I mean, it was a phenomenal game for the Jets defense specifically. The Buffalo Bills, this doesn't mean that the Buffalo Bills are any worse than they are, right? They were still able to score touchdowns. They were still able to put points on the board. However, the Jets were just that much better in the divisional faceoff.
Yeah, and to wrap up this game in particular, Jose, this showed the weaknesses of the Bills, and they were very much taken advantage by the New York Jets. What did they do? They ran the ball down the Bills' throat. I mean, Michael Carter and James Robinson combined for over 100 yards running down the Bills' defense.
Yes, sir.
So it was just it showed like you can run the ball on this defense. And what did we talk about the Bills, Jose? What were we worried about, like them going on to early on in the summer? Being too Josh Allen dependent.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta let your other players make some plays for you. And the reason why earlier on in the defense I said like they just shut down the running backs is because Josh Allen amazingly still got his like rushing numbers up. Like you said, 2 touchdowns running the ball. However, I said you can't do that every time because you risk your best player, your only asset, getting hurt unnecessarily. That last drive by the Buffalo Bills, which led to like a Josh Allen sack, he got his arm caught by a New York Jets defender.
Yes, he did.
Now it's looking like that is Tommy John ligament, the LCL. So the people who don't know, if you raise your right arm like you're gonna flex it like with your bicep, that ligament is what's between your forearm and your bicep towards the elbow right there. It's right that corner bicep. So they caught Josh Allen's arms and it strained that ligament. And they're saying he's day-to-day. So I'm just saying it might be just a regular season game, but it's going to affect the season overall. And it's just going back to my point is that they have to be more balanced. Devin Singletary and James Cook getting less than 50 yards combined, not good enough. Not good enough to help Josh Allen. And it's going to be a very, very interesting run for the Bills if teams start catching up to be like, okay, we're going to shut everything else down and we're going to force Josh Allen by himself to beat us.
Absolutely. And if God forbid Josh Allen is out for the next couple of weeks, God forbid he is out for the next couple of weeks, that backup quarterback needs to step up and just be a game manager. That's pretty much it. Mm-hmm. The rest of the offense is as balanced as they possibly can be, and we've seen that week after week after week. So that backup quarterback is definitely going to have to step up and be the guy, right? Be the game manager that they expect him to be until Josh Allen is ready to perform once again. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and move on to our next game, Ricardo. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right. And do not go away, everybody. All right, everybody. The Los Angeles Rams and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ricardo, let's throw this out. Let's throw this out just right away, right? Tom Brady still got it, right? Tom Brady still has it for the most part, right? It's just even if the rest of the team isn't necessarily stacking up to the expectations that everybody else had of him, right? Tom Brady, as of this game, now has 100,000 career passing yards. And that's regular and postseason combined. He is the first ever player to do so in the history of the NFL. The next closest person to this record is Drew Brees. And we now know that he's retired.
Around 80,000, if I remember correctly.
It is 85,724 to be exact. Right? Now, Tom Brady also threw the football 58 times this game. 58 times. Now, how common is that in a quarterback to throw it in a single game, Ricardo?
Very, very rare. Usually when a quarterback throws it that much amount of time, Jose, either 2 things are going on. Either, and this is the very rare case, very, very rare, they win by the skin of their teeth in a shootout game, or they're getting their asses blown out and the quarterback just has to try to get them back and to try to win this game. So for winning football, consistent winning football, that's not a good sign.
No, it most definitely is not. And it seemed like the Buccaneers' defense was having a hard time holding the Rams even. But with the exception of the defensive line, it seemed like the defensive line was easily having a very good time just pressuring Matt Stafford. Right? And that's honestly all that they needed to, especially with Todd Bowles at the helm of the play calling scheme. Right? So Todd Bowles being at the helm and having his defense being his specialty, right? It seems as though Todd Bowles is having an easy time putting the defense forward and pressuring Matt Stafford with an already weakened offensive line for the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah. Now, really quickly about the defense for the Tampa Bay Bucks,
Of course.
going against the Rams.
Yep.
Where your guy Cooper Kupp was burning them left and right, but I will give them credit here for the Tampa Bay defense. After that 70-yard touchdown, or like 75-yard touchdown that Cooper Kupp got,
Yes,
to score the opening touchdown for the game, they really clamped down and like forced somebody else to beat him other than Cooper Kupp. So the 127, it was 69-yard receiving catch.
Mm-hmm.
So other than that long touchdown, after that, Cooper Kupp was held to kind of like 60 yards total.
Yeah, he was.
The rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So they really forced everybody else to beat him, no matter what the situation was. Now, I will be honest, Jose. I forgot. This is gonna be funny to say. I forgot kind of how awful the Rams O-line was. So to see some pressure pass rush by the Tampa Bay defense was a refreshing sight to see. But I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, they're not necessarily great pass rushing, but they're not awful. So they got 4 sacks on Matt Stafford, and it's just really, really showing the downgrade and the predictability of the Rams offense without running the ball more consistently and without getting most explosive plays. Now, Jose, I'll be honest, when the Bucks were stopped on 4th down, that on 4th and goal, when they were stopped and they didn't score the touchdown,
yeah,
I thought it was over. I thought the Rams were going to get that 1st down and that they were going to win this game.
Yeah,
I'll let you get into that, man. It seems like you have something specific.
For sure. Now it's very it's good that you bring that up, because yes, they should have scored on that end zone catch for the touchdown, specifically with Scotty Miller. All right, so Scotty Miller was the intended target for that end zone catch for the touchdown. You got to catch that, man. You have to catch that. You have to catch that. But he didn't. However, to counter your point, right? Scotty Miller did make up for it by helping move the offense downfield for that touchdown drive in the last few seconds of the game. Now,
absolutely.
Either way though, Scotty Miller, number 10, you got to catch that, man. You have to catch that.
It's really quickly to bring up that point about Scotty Miller. Shannon Sharp said something on Twitter that reminded me about when you and I first started playing catch in football, and I was like, dude, I was throwing the ball to you,
yeah,
and you would unnecessarily, and you would drop the ball because you would jump up and it would hit you lower than you thought.
That's right. That's
exactly,
right. Yeah,
that's exactly what happened on this play. And Shannon Sharp brought it up. He's like, I don't get what is it with these receivers trying to out jump everything when you don't have to. Just put your arms up and catch the dang ball.
Yeah.
So that play, if Scotty Miller, I'm convinced, Jose, without a doubt, if he just runs the route and reaches up to grab it, it's a touchdown. It's second nature. But because he tried to out jump and try to gain positioning on it,
yep,
you still got to catch that. That's no excuse. But I'm saying he made it 10 times harder on himself than he would have if he just kept running the route and reached up.
Exactly.
Don't jump unless you need to.
Exactly. Yeah, he has to focus on his own placement, as well as catching the ball. He has to focus on his own placement in the air as well as catching the ball, as opposed to just catching the ball, right? If he's stationary on the ground, right? Or not even stationary on the ground, but just running across the field, right? That's one less thing to worry about. Now, going back to your point that the Tampa Bay defense did put up a good fight up against Matt Stafford. They sacked him 4 times. 2 times. 2 of those times was your guy, Ricardo, Vita Vea.
My man.
Yeah, your man Vita Vea. So he stood up to the plate, right? And he sacked Matt Stafford 2 times out of those 4, right? So he has a lot of the credit to be given to that front defensive line for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
300-pound man should have moved that quickly, Jose. I'm just saying. Vita Vea is amazing.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous. That man's a monster for sure. Now, a lot of the time, the Buccaneers secondary did leave Cooper Kupp wide open for sure. However, they did a very good job at forcing Matt Stafford to throw more accurately, right? So Stafford was throwing pretty inaccurately to anyone that was not a wide open Cooper Kupp, right? So they were definitely challenging him in that sense. Allen Robinson had some moments on some third down plays, a couple of third down plays, but but all in all, he only totaled, if I remember correctly, 24 yards receiving. 24 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and surprisingly enough, the run game was not there. The run game wasn't there, even with Cam Akers returning.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what it is with Sean McVay this season, but like what did we talk about in the Super Bowl, Jose, when the Rams first won it?
Absolutely.
That Sean McVay kept running the football even though they weren't getting anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then the running back Henderson that they have, he was having a great game. Granted, it was under 5 yards a carry, but still 4.7 yards a carry. For the novice who doesn't know, that's a pretty good clip. And they only gave him 12 carries.
That's half a down. That's half a down. Yeah.
Yeah, that's half a first down. So my point is that, like, if you don't want to give Cam Akers too many carries because he just came back, that's fine. But still attempt to run the ball, man. I mean, it's a close game. It's clearly going to be a field position game. And you got to keep that Tampa defense honest. You got to keep those secondary players honest and force them to tackle and come up and get those running backs on the ground.
Absolutely.
Dude, early on in the game, they were moving the ball somewhat effectively because they were forcing players to tackle their skill guys. Like Cam Akers had an okay run, and then you had Henderson just ripping the defense to shreds as far as running the football.
Oh, yeah.
And then being creative specifically, it's just... Sorry, I know I'm taking a little bit of time with this, but that's just what's boggled my mind with Sean McVay is that I don't know what this play calling is. I don't know if he realizes the limitation of his offensive line. But I'll tell you this, Jose, as an offensive line player's perspective go, you're much more happier to run block than to pass block. So if these guys are underserviceable, saying, like they're not as good as you'd expect them to be, make it easier for them. Run the football, run some more screen passes, like force the Tampa Bay defense to guess what you're doing. Don't just drop back Matt Stafford and, okay, it's Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp, because then they're going to stop and whatever. But Jose, to me, the most egregious thing of the whole game was that final drive. They get the ball back. It's at the 9-yard line, but you get the ball back. You have a chance to win. He makes the perfect call to Cooper Kupp to run the reverse outside. They get the edge. You know how much I care about the edge as someone who's played defensive end.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. In the box. They get the edge. Cooper Kupp has a chance to make a play or whatever, but he slides. And I won't fault that for Cooper Kupp for sliding, because I guarantee you, Jose, when they made that play call, Sean McVay was like, do not go out of bounds. As soon as you get some yardage, you slide and you force him to take a timeout.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's the best player on your team. If you're like, follow your instincts, but just don't go out of bounds. Now, granted, if Cooper Kupp did this and he just slided, then that's on Cooper Kupp. But we don't know this because we weren't on the field. We didn't know what the strategy was between them two.
Yep.
But if Cooper Kupp was doing what Sean McVay did, why are you giving up that first down? The whole thing is you gain yardage to get the first down, then you slide or go down. Is once you get the yardage, because you reset the chains. It's one less timeout. It's less time for the Tampa Bay the Tampa Bay offense to get on that final drive. And they were counting on the fact that they were going to get that Tampa Bay wasn't going to have enough time. Now, Tampa Bay's offense has been awful. I mean awful. Other than that final drive, they weren't moving the ball to save their life. So I get the premise of trying to say okay, well, they're not going to drive it down the field. That would work if you weren't running the prevent defense on the final drive to give them so much space. They still had space to go down the field, man. Sorry, it boggles my mind, Jose, when NFL teams, when they have the lead, let's be 20 yards back. Let's not try to defend in front of us. Let's let them get clean releases and try to get some momentum on them, because you get a big play and then another play and another play and another play. Now, prevent defense, to people who don't know, prevent defense is pretty much you guys it's what it says in the name. You guys stay back. Stay back. Do not let them get behind you. You give them all the space that they need in the world, but do not let them get behind you. That works if you secure the sideline. So like Jose, after the 20-yard pass that led to like 29 yards to Cade Otton, the rookie for Tampa Bay, they were giving the sideline to the Tampa Bay Bucks. They have no timeouts left. As a defense, you're like, you restrict the sideline at all costs. Force them to come back inside. If they gain more yardage, so be it. But we're going to tackle them inbound so the clock keeps ticking. They were doing a prevent defense going back, and they gave them out of bounds. That's not going to get you to win, man. I mean, it's so ridiculous. I'm sorry to go on a rant here, but it just boggles my mind. I'm like, if that's your strategy, force them to run out of time, secure the sidelines at all costs. Jose, you'll see this in some games where corners and safeties, they're lined up less than a yard away from out of bounds. Like they're 10 yards deep, but they're facing inbounds. Because the whole point is like, you are not going to let them go out of bounds and stop that clock.
Yeah.
They let them go out of bounds and stop that clock. They let them go get a couple momentum drives going. They let them get inside the 10, and then the penalty. I mean, what do you think was going to happen? You can't give him that much opportunity.
No, you can't. At that point, when the score is that close, the entire point is to chew the clock off as much as you possibly can. Especially on the Rams side of the ball, they had to hold the lead. They had to hold the lead. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, with all that being said, the Buccaneers and the Rams are still looking like struggling NFC teams, which is very ironic because during the offseason we expected them to be much better than they actually are right now. But
yes, we did.
That doesn't mean that other teams are starting to step up to the plate and other players are not stepping up to the plate, which leads us to our next game. One of the unexpected games of this season, Chicago versus Miami. All right. So do not go away for that.
We'll be back.
All right, Ricardo. A lot of fans are going to be looking at the score, 35-32. The Miami Dolphins took it over the Chicago Bears, and a lot of people are going to see this as definitely a win for the Miami Dolphins for sure, and it was, score-wise, right? However, let's talk about the quarterback that a lot of people seem to be overlooking this season, Justin Fields. Justin Fields, with as bad as the offense looked for the Chicago Bears last year to this year, it almost seems like night and day. Would you agree?
No, absolutely. Like clearly the more talented QBs of that year's draft, but yeah, absolutely. Like one of the more talented I'd say Jose, the most talented QB for that year's draft. He's showing it with the crap around him. There's no other way for me to explain it. With the crap around him as far as like the skill position players and the running players. And I did not think I would live to see the day that someone will break Mike Vick's single game rushing record by a QB. My goodness.
Oh, man.
My goodness. With the offensive talent that he has around him, I had to reread that when I saw him. Like, wait a minute. He broke Mike Vick's record for most yards in rushing in a game? I'm like, it wasn't Lamar Jackson. It wasn't Colin Kaepernick with those good teams. It was Justin Fields with this year's Bears that are 3-6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
One of the best arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the league too. Like just this game, he threw 3 touchdown passes, and your favorite stat, Ricardo, 0 picks.
Yep.
0 picks. Right. And especially Justin Fields to Komet. I hope I'm saying that right. To Komet. It seems like they're developing a very, very good chemistry together. Mm-hmm. Right. Especially like that touchdown pass in the second quarter to Darnell Mooney. Right. That's another thing to note as well. It just seems like Fields is really starting to step into his own and starting to throw more accurate passes. Any other rookie quarterback, and I say this with full belief, with complete belief, any other quarterback in Justin Fields' position as a rookie going into this season probably would not know what to do. going into the second season with as bad as an NFL offense as they had last year. Justin Fields is really starting to step up. This year, and his football IQ is really starting to develop as well. He's showing smarter gameplay, specifically with him stepping up into the pocket and running when necessary. With that touchdown run in the third quarter, 61 yards, Ricardo. Ran 61 yards for that touchdown run. And he had to step into the pocket to do that. He originally thought that it was going to be a passing touchdown.
Yeah.
But he stepped into the pocket and he was able to run it into the end zone for that 61-yard touchdown run. So, as far as a second-year quarterback goes, what more can you ask for?
Jose, I'm telling you right now, he is showing the reason. He is giving, like, for the onwards after this season, he is showing people, if we lose, I am not going to be the reason that we lose.
Absolutely, yes.
Nail to win for this game. I will not be the reason that we lose. I am going to do whatever it takes, and including running the football, because make no mistake about it, he's a pocket passer. He's a good pocket passer.
For sure.
But he's just so athletic and so quick. He's like, I got to do whatever it takes to win. And this is working, so I'll go ahead and do whatever it takes to win that game. Jose, if I'm a head coach or an offensive coordinator, I'm just licking my lips as far as, like, I need to coach this guy. He has so much talent. I just gotta build the right team around him.
Yes.
I can set him up to be something great, something good, because it comes down to if you can play or if you can't play. And this kid's playing with not a lot of help around him. I mean, Darnell Mooney, God bless him, but what is he, like a good third type tier receiver?
No doubt.
Komet too, like an okay guy. Chase Claypool was on that game, and he didn't make any impact. I mean, if I'm a Bears fan, it shows me promise, because for the first time in a long time, I got a quarterback. I got a quarterback on my team that I can rely on.
Absolutely.
I just need to put more help around him.
Yeah. So, I mean, because we know, Ricardo, personally, that Jay Cutler was not the guy.
Oh, my goodness.
That Jay Cutler was not the guy. Andy Dalton was not the guy. Right? Neither one of those people were the freaking guy. Right? Justin Fields has become, seemingly overnight, Justin Fields has become one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL. Simply because he has shown a lot of promise going into this year, especially since the odds are stacked against him, right? Yep. He's essentially the underdog. He's essentially the underdog of this team, and I am very, very, very excited to see what he does next. However, the victory was not entirely on the talent that Justin Fields has, right? Or, the promise is not entirely of this game. The promise is not entirely on Justin Fields, right? There were a lot of small mistakes that the Miami Dolphins made this game in particular. They had a missed field goal. Miami had a missed field goal. Yes, they had a blocked punt. They had a drop snap on a 3rd and 2 play. They had a drop snap by Tua on a 3rd and 2 play. And they also had a low pass on 4th and 1 in the fourth quarter when the score is 35-32. Ricardo, answer me this. Why is there a pass call being made on a 4th and 1 play when the score is 35-32 in the fourth quarter? Why is that? Why is that happening?
It's just being too cute, Jose, is what it is. It's being too cheeky or too cute and being like, I'm going to outsmart the defense. The only scenario, and even then I would still try to run it, Jose, if you pass the ball, is if there's 9 guys lined up and there's some space between the corner and your receiver, you just pick it up and you throw the slant. But other than that, there was no reason for that, man. There was no reason. You just run the ball. You line up your running back in a specific formation so they don't try to get some momentum to come up above them. Really quickly, one good thing I've seen teams do when it's like short yardage situations, but they won't want their quarterback to sneak it, they want to give it to their running back.
Yep.
The Chiefs have been doing this a lot, and it's very, very smart. they line up their running back in the fullback position. So you know how the running back has to line up like 5 yards backfield?
Oh, yeah.
When the quarterback's in the center? Why do that? Why don't you have a running back there, but also line up the guy you really want to give the ball to, the running back, just 2 yards behind? So that way the defense doesn't get any momentum, and it's just a quick play. As quick as it could be, other than a sneak.
Exactly. You make it look more like it's going to be a pass play where the running back is running a route, where the running back is running a check down route, as opposed to the quarterback taking the snap and then just handing it off to the running back. You make it as predictable as possible if the running back is lining up in the halfback position, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to the fullback position, because the halfback position is practically right behind the quarterback, right? Like 2-3 yards behind him, right? So in that case, you would say, yeah, that's very obviously a running play, right? In more often than not, that is a running play, right? So you have your running back lining up in the fullback position, so that way you expect it to be more of a passing play. So it seems like the Chiefs are really outsmarting the defense in doing that.
Yeah, well, they don't care what the position they're lining up is, Jose, is that they're using both of their running backs to their advantage. Because they're like, we're not scared to run the ball with either one of these guys, so we're just going to put both of them on there. Good luck trying to figure out what we're doing. And that's what the Dolphins just trying to be too cheeky and throwing the ball. I get Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are your best players, but my goodness, man, it's 1 yard. It is 1 yard. If your offensive line cannot get you that yard, you do not deserve to win the game.
No, not at all. And if your running back cannot just fit to run a single yard. Have you seen a running back, Ricardo, this season that has had a stat of running on an average anything less than 3 yards? Even the worst running back in the league, do you think that they have averaged like less than 3 yards a game? Like less than 3 yards per run, per carry? No. That's a professional. That's what a professional is paid to do, right? So they very easily could have done that, but obviously the hubris of the Miami Dolphins has really stepped in this game. Either that or just the, like you said, like the cheeky play calling, right? Mm-hmm. However, that also was not the only contributing factor to the loss that the Chicago Bears have accumulated, right? On top of that too, it was poor officiating. This is something that we haven't really talked about on RJ Talks just yet, right? I don't think we have. The poor officiating put on the Bears was just put them in a difficult spot in the second half of the game, particularly that pass interference call against the Bears in the fourth quarter for just small contact. The Bears defender couldn't stop his momentum, so he bumped into the receiver. He didn't even put his hands on him. So why was that considered a pass interference call?
Jose, what's more egregious was when the Bears got the ball back. I don't know how that's not pass interference. The Dolphins player was wrestling him to the ground. They were both jumping up for the ball, and he was wrestling him to the ground. And no, clean play. No, let's just let him play it out. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I'm all for it. Like, if you're gonna make the calls. Make the calls. Make it fair, though. Like, show, like, a consistent display of the penalties. If you're going to let him play, let him play. Let him play and just make it consistent for everybody. Because, my goodness, Jose, it's been a while since I've seen a worse, that bad of pass interference. Of 2 cases of pass interference, like, being shown in the same game. It's ridiculous.
What's crazy, too...
That's to bring it up.
Oh, for sure. What's crazy, too, is that the play calling in the front half of the game just was, it was pretty fair on both sides. They barely had any calls, they barely had any calls on them. So it was just very interesting that all of a sudden the referees decided to wake up and they go, oh, wow, there are a lot of plays in this game, so we're just going to start calling them in the second half for no reason. So it was, or not calling them for many reasons. So... It was a very interesting game for sure. However, just to wrap things up, the Chicago Bears offense are making a statement. Justin Fields specifically is making a statement saying, hey, if we lose, I will not be the reason we do so. And on top of that too, the Miami Dolphins are, if they don't start to fine-tune themselves and they don't start to bring their hubris back a little bit, it will cost them. It will cost them in the long term.
Absolutely. the whole point, that one of the whole points is that you got Mike McDaniel is because he was the play caller for San Francisco. And what's San Francisco known for? Finding creative ways to run the football. It's running that West Coast system, but like you got to be more balanced. I get you have Tyreek Hill. I get you have Jalen Waddle. I get you have those guys, but you got to be. We keep repeating ourselves on the show, Jose. As far as what NFL teams need to do is, you got to be more goddamn balanced.
Yeah.
That's how you become unstoppable.
Yeah, for sure. And we're probably going to keep repeating ourselves until these teams start to do that. However, there's no such thing as perfection, unfortunately. So, Ricardo, it sounds like we're in business for quite some time, right?
Absolutely. And really quickly, before we move on, I got to give credit for Tua for winning the close game. What happened, but you still have to win the game.
Oh, absolutely.
And Tua, is showing promise, and 3 touchdowns, 0 interception, 300-yard passing day. He's looking all right. He is looking all right, and that AFC East, man, it's what we thought the AFC West was going to be. It is a tight race, tight. Like three teams that already have 6 wins in the season.
Truly,
my goodness.
Truly, yeah. And every single team in the AFC East has a winning record. Let's say that as well. So absolutely one of the better divisions. My New England Patriots are still definitely struggling. However, it's good to see that the other 3 teams are really starting to step up to the plate. So with that being said, the game is what the game was. The Chicago Bears, I'm very excited to see what Justin Fields does next. And Tua Tagovailoa, continue to recover, my brother. You will definitely do much better these next few weeks. Moving on to another upset, all right? The Green Bay Packers versus the Detroit Lions. Can you believe that, Ricardo?
Oh, I'm so happy about that game. Let's get started.
Let's get started with that one. Do not go away, everybody. All right, Green Bay and Detroit. Ricardo, I think we can both agree the Detroit defense, they came to play, man.
Oh yeah, finally showing some backbone.
Oh my goodness, they came to play, and you kind of knew that they were here to play with that 3rd and goal run stop at the end of the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, and it was what was it, Ricardo? Like 3 yards out from the end zone, and they were still able to stop the running back. Holy crap!
Yep.
Fantastic. Also, and on the other side of the ball, the Green Bay's defense just, where were they? They made Jared Goff look like a superstar. Oh my goodness! I mean, to be frank, Ricardo, they made Jared Goff look like a superstar. Because Green Bay's defense just had blown coverage here and there. And not just blown coverage in field, they had blown coverage in the end zone that resulted in the first touchdown of the game.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Oh, man.
Well, to be fair, it's not an excuse, but
sure.
As far as for creative plays, that's one of the famous plays to try to get a tight end an easy touchdown. And God bless that rookie. I hope he enjoyed it. That's like his first NFL touchdown. But that's the play you run, Jose. I don't know if you've seen it before. It's pretty much everybody's running to the other side of the field, and you have your tight end blocking, or sometimes you have your tight end going downfield blocking or pretending like he's doing something else, and then sneak out to go there. And that's what results in the blown coverage. But man, you're absolutely right, dude. Everybody fell for that. How did no one get assigned this rookie?
Exactly. How did not one person catch that? It's just that's just crazy to me. And the fact that the Detroit Lions are statistically speaking, and I say this strictly statistically speaking, how the Lions are the worst defense in the league.
They were on pace to be the worst defense in NFL history, Jose. They were giving up 38 points a game.
Exactly. So how were they able to stop the Green Bay Packers How were they able to stop the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers at the helm, mind you? All right? Halfway through the second quarter, Aaron Rodgers already had 2 picks. 2 picks and 0 touchdown passes. Or not even a rushing touchdown. But you know that he's a statue already, right? So you're not going to expect him to be rushing into the end zone for a touchdown, right? He's not Josh Allen. He's not Lamar Jackson, right? But either way, Ricardo, 2 interceptions with 0 touchdown passes, right? Ended the game with 3 interceptions, which was the most since his 2017 run after he fractured his collarbone.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, like it really just seems like the old quarterbacks, some of the oldest quarterbacks are really having a rough time this season, particularly Matt Ryan. The Colts that were held to a field goal by us, the New England Patriots. I'm not saying that to rub it in or anything, but how is this happening? How is it that Matt Ryan is benched? Tom Brady has to resort to old ways in helping his team come back in the second half, and Aaron Rodgers throwing for 3 picks. How is that possible?
It's just, I'll be honest, Jose. You might not like what I'm going to say, but it's just the game humbling them.
For sure.
Specifically Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers being like, oh, we can keep playing, like the game's pretty easy. Like we don't have to show that dedication as much as we once did. Like we'll show up. We know how to play. We've been playing for over 15 years. Like it's all right. We got this. But Aaron Rodgers, his biggest weakness is coming out, and a bunch of people are seeing it now, and I'm kind of happy they are, because when it comes to the Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady debate, it just shows the difference as far as leadership and play style calling. It like people like Jose. I heard the argument my whole life. Like, man, if Aaron Rodgers had Bill Belichick as a coach, man, he would win 12 Super Bowls. Like it would be an incredible thing to watch. I'm like, not necessarily. Like not every player matches to the coach.
Nope.
Nope. Like not every player can take the fact of trying to run the ball or like being like having limited amount of passes and being forced to make key specific passes. It's just going back to the old quarterback stuff it's just I think it's good for the league, honestly, Jose. I think it's good for the league to show like that it's not quote unquote it's not fixed, or it's not meant for like the quarterbacks to try to last longer. Granted, the NFL is trying its hardest to have these NFL quarterbacks play as long as they can because they know they are their famous bread and butter and money makers. But the league has something else, and this is great for the league to show that deference of humbleness and to show that it takes the top talent and elite competition to win this game, and it's showing that these guys are not it anymore. They were at some point. They really were at some point, but not anymore. Like it is like you said before, it is a new era in this NFL.
Exactly, and that's really what it's starting to look like. Well, and I do want to give Aaron Rodgers some credit, right? Like even he still had some pretty well placed balls, right? It still looked like vintage Aaron Rodgers for sure in some moments throughout this game. However, those well placed balls really had to be earned. Right, especially when those receivers are just clouded with double coverage, right? Double or even very, very good single coverage against, statistically, the worst defense in the league, right?
Yeah.
Even with that first touchdown pass for Green Bay, they tried going for the 2-point conversion, but they still botched that. It was still botched by Detroit, right? Yep. So, man, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, it really is starting to look like a new era for the NFL, particularly in the quarterback position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's really all I could say for this Green Bay and Detroit game. Detroit came to play. They really did. On the defensive side of the ball, they did not want to be stopped, for sure.
They finally got that win that they wanted. And man, when's the last time we saw Detroit beat Green Bay in Atlanta in a close game in the Aaron Rodgers era? Like,
absolutely,
yeah, like they shut that game down and they came to play. I thought for a second I was getting worried, Jose, because it was still 7-6 as far as like early on in the game. Excuse me, I don't know if hang on. Let me look at the play-by-play. I don't know if it was 7-6 or if it was 8-6.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was 8-6. Sorry, it was 8-6, and I thought the Detroit Lions were going to rest on their laurels and just rely on the defense, hope that they don't score a play, and they drove down the field and they scored on that Green Bay Packers defense. But I'm telling you right now, Jose, this is a great momentum shifter for Detroit, and it's looking like a step in the right direction. Because I was worried about Dan Campbell and those guys. Like I really really like them, and I hope success for them. But Green Bay, man, they're done. They're not going to no playoffs. Like this was the turnaround game. Like for Tampa Bay and for Green Bay, these were their turnaround games to get better, and they're not going to get the division lead over Minnesota now. It's too much of an advantage. It's too far ahead, and you're telling me that they're gonna try to get some wild card games over these upcoming teams when it comes to the wild card hunt? They don't have the horses anymore. Like they don't play good defense. The receivers are dropping passes. God bless them, even though they're young and they're trying. Aaron Rodgers is clearly showing some regression in age. I'm not going to say he's a bum. He's not at that point yet. Like he's not extremely old, but he's no longer in the prime that the Green Bay Packers were relying on and riding their season on like year in and year out. It is showing how awful, Jose, awful this front office has been to get talent around the team. They like for years now, Jose. I don't know if you heard this, but like you get like they say reports on like talk shows that Green Bay was really close to getting this player. Oh no, we really tried to sign this player in the offseason. We really tried to make that trade happen.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was about to say I'm sorry for cutting you off, Ricardo, but nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about the attempts that you made in football specifically, or I could speak for any league. For any sports league, right? They do not care what you attempted to do. They care about the result, what you did. Now, I will say this for Green Bay. I absolutely agree with you, Ricardo, 100%, 1000%. They are not going to continue to improve. Unfortunately, they're done, right? Because all of the other teams that they're facing now are at or above 500. Mm-hmm. So, what are they going to do? They can't. They can't do anything else these next few weeks, especially up against that divisional game, especially up against Minnesota. Minnesota's on a hot streak right now. All right? Mm-hmm. With Minnesota being on a hot streak right now, they are not going to win those divisional games. I'm sorry. They're done. So the fact that these next few weeks are going to be that much harder for them, they can't step up to the plate, man, especially since they showed who they are during this Detroit game. It's a shame, really, but that's the reality.
No, that is the reality, and it just bothers me, like the fact that like that everyone's gonna try to pin this on Aaron Rodgers. I by any means, Jose, I'm not an Aaron Rodgers lover or fan, but I respect the guy. Like you know this. I
absolutely.
Don't root for it, but I'm just like. I'm like, this is an absolute failure from top to bottom to be this awful so quickly. Like, you really were just relying on Aaron Rodgers' talent and Devontae Adams. We're just going to re-sign the same guys. Our offense is just going to keep scoring 25, 28 points a game. It'll keep us in the loop. And, Jose, for the front office, I cannot remember a single move that they have made at all, specifically like team building wise, ever since that Super Bowl that they won, where they traded for Charles Woodson and they had Clay Matthews drafted there, and they had AJ Hawk for that tight defense. Since then, they have done nothing. They signed the Smith brothers, which was okay, but when it was time to re-up their contracts, what did they do? Oh, they didn't sign one of the more important ones. And where is he now, Jose? Za'Darius? He's with Minnesota.
Yep.
Making them much better.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, man.
He came back to bite him in the butt for good reason. So Green Bay from top to bottom, they have been awful. Now, if they get a top 10 pick this year, good for them. They'll probably get some outside running back, outside linebacker, or some bizarre position that they're going to draft for. Far be it for them to get talent on that team. I really have to make that point because I do not want people to think that it's all Aaron Rodgers. It is a failure from top to bottom.
Yeah, and you know that when Matt LaFleur, the offensive guru, right, the offensive genius, is starting to come out into interviews and just speaking reality. He's saying we are all very, very, very disappointed, right? And on top of that, too, he said it's just not coming together, right? So the fact that Matt LaFleur is starting to come out and say these things, they're done, man. Unfortunately, the Green Bay Packers are done for this season.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to sit here and sulk for the Green Bay Packers. Unfortunately, there is always next year and the year after that. Now, I do want to move on to the Philadelphia Eagles and the Texans. This was much closer than we anticipated it to be, but the Philadelphia Eagles are still 8-0. So do not go away. We will be right back with that.
We'll be right back.
All right, sir. Last game of this episode. The Philadelphia Eagles versus the Houston Texans. So the Eagles took the W, right? They are still undefeated, 29-17, right? They had some difficulty, but not a whole lot, right? It seems like NFL News is really starting to say, oh, the Texans were the ones that gave the Philadelphia Eagles the trouble. I would say that for the first half of the game, but the second half of the game, it was definitely all Philadelphia, right?
Yep.
So the Texans, for sure, were showing some poor defense with blown coverages throughout several plays. Several plays. Oh, my goodness. They allowed, and this stat definitely says that, they allowed the Eagles to be 4 for 4 in the red zone.
Yeah, I expect to win if you let them score touchdowns every time.
Exactly, yeah. Now, I will say this. Davis Mills is looking like a solid quarterback for Houston, right? Davis Mills led the offense in the very beginning of the game. Their opening drive, 75 yards down the field, that led to a touchdown, right? So, pretty solid for Davis Mills all around. And on top of that, too, it seems like the edge rushers for Houston were giving Jalen Hurts a hard time. They sacked him 4 times, and there was just poor blocking for the offensive outside linebackers for Philadelphia, too. Yeah, and on top of that, too, they were tied in the third quarter until Davis Mills throws an interception to Gardner Johnson. Right, that just resulted in a touchdown drive for Philadelphia, and that touchdown was caught by none other than A.J. Brown. So I would say, all in all, that the Philadelphia Eagles were definitely having a hard time on the offensive line side of the ball, but the Houston Texans just couldn't close out the game. All right, and that's why Philadelphia won.
No, absolutely. You nailed it right on the head, Jose, as far as how this game was looking. It was looking very tight. It was a very, very close game. And I was thinking, can the Texans possibly pull this out? But here's what makes good teams, Jose, is that the fact that the Eagles, when it's not going right, and it's nip and tight, and it's tough, you got to find a way to win. And they found a way to win. And it all started by the catalyst, which was their defense. Now, it is a little concerning that Jalen Hurts is getting sacked a little bit more often for these past three games, as far as getting sacked while he's passing the ball.
Oh yeah.
But give him credit this, he still hasn't made the big mistake to throw the interception, or he hasn't let it rattle him. So gonna have to adjust a little bit on the Eagles' offensive line as far as what they are doing to protect him, or play calling, maybe just make quick plays and try to make it a lot more easier for Jalen Hurts. Now, one thing that really saved them, Jose, is that they were very balanced. They did run the ball a lot, which is what the Philadelphia Eagles' bread and butter is we are going to out-tough you and we are going to wear you down. And it was really, really evident in the second half as far as how they were doing. They scored. A.J. Brown did score the touchdown, but Miles Sanders was getting key good runs going to lead the game for the touchdown. Specifically, Jalen Hurts' last touchdown, the fourth touchdown of the game, was led to a play action. It was a run-based drive to tell the Texans, like, you know what we're doing, we know what we're doing. Let's see you try to stop us. We're gonna bully you, and we're gonna score here. They got it there. Miles Sanders did his best. Like, he got them down inside the 5, and they were able to do that read option play where Jalen Hurts ran outside the pocket and threw it to the tight end for the touchdown. Now, one thing that really I do like about this game, Jose, specifically, Dallas Goedert is getting much more targets and more love in this game than he did in previous ones because, I mean, you got those star receivers out there. Like, someone's going to have to take a diminishing targets. But in Dallas Goedert getting, like, his game of the season, without a doubt, 100 yards catching, 100 yards receiving, 1 touchdown, I saw a lot of excitement from the players around him, specifically the receivers, specifically the top receivers, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, being very happy for their tight end for getting that production. When in other cases with Devo receivers, you would see some resentment and being, hey, like, why aren't you throwing me the ball? I don't care that we got the first down or we scored. You got to throw me the ball. So it is showing the depth of this Eagles offense, which was in the win in this game.
For sure, Ricardo. There's something to say for the wide receivers being very supportive of the rest of the team, particularly the tight end, because it speaks to what their mentality is, right? And their mentality is to win the game all in all, right? Doesn't matter who the targets go to, doesn't matter who the stats are starting to stack up for in each one of those games, just matters that you get the dub, all right? That's what matters. And the fact that Dallas Goedert was getting most of the targets, right, and he was getting most of the praise, it's starting to speak volumes of how balanced the Philadelphia Eagles offense is, and we continue to repeat that week in and week out. So the fact that we continue to repeat that, Ricardo, week to week to week to week, the Philadelphia Eagles are really starting to look like a very, very strong presence. Right? Not even starting to. They've continued to look like a very strong presence, offensively speaking, in the National Football League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now this doesn't go to say that the Eagles don't have their struggles.
Sure.
Because my goodness, dude, I don't know if it was the defense or if it was that rookie running back that Houston had, but they shredded that defense like it was butter.
Yes, absolutely.
We have to bring out the performance by the running back Pierce. I saw him like running angry and running hard all throughout that game.
Yes, sir.
And he kept the Texans in this game. I'm upset that he didn't score that he didn't get the chance to score a touchdown, but he had a career game and definitely had the Texans felt his presence as far as what this game is supposed to be, and incredible to see. Now, It is going to be a weakness. It's very funny, Jose. The two top teams the two top contenders in the NFL when it comes to trying to win the Super Bowl, or the top players in each teams, both are having trouble stopping the run. The Buffalo Bills and the Eagles. So it's very funny to see that is the weakness for these for these well balanced teams and the favorites without a doubt. So, for the Eagles, we're just going to have to see more toughness from their defense as their offense imposes that will. So they just got to get better at coming up and tackling those running backs hard as far as stopping the run. Now, they still have their secondary did come to play, like it did eventually show their superiority, starting off with the C.J. Gardner-Johnson interception that you just mentioned. So they are showing their presence defensively without, like, when push comes to shove as far as what's going on.
Absolutely.
And I'm very interested as far as how this Eagles team looks. I do not think they will go undefeated. You and I have said this plenty of times as far as undefeated and unvictorious teams. It is the most unlikely thing to happen, and it is very, very difficult. But plus, like, Jose, losses for some teams, it builds up their morale, and it really, like, brings them down to earth when all the success is coming.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because the Eagles are the halfway champions. We're undefeated, like, we're the top team, all that, yada, yada, yada. It doesn't mean a thing until we see that Lombardi raised in the air. And it won't matter unless you're the team winning that Lombardi. Now, it will make a difference as far as like how far you go, but I'm telling you, man, there's a bunch of teams that they get that number 1 seed and then they get upset in the first round, and that's it. Doesn't matter how many games you win in a row. It comes down to, can you win when it matters? And we'll see, man. Like, this Eagles team is like, they're making me more and more a believer every day. Like, they're winning in different ways, which is very important, specifically playoff time.
The Philadelphia Eagles are definitely riding a high right now, and they do need to hone in more on their run defense for sure, especially when they face the Tennessee Titans in December. Because you know for a fact that they are going to utilize Derrick Henry as much as they possibly can in that game.
I'm happy to say he's looking a lot more like himself after this week.
Oh man. Yeah. Yes he is. Yes he is. Now, you know I'm a big Derrick Henry fan, Ricardo. So the fact that Derrick Henry is starting to look more like himself this season, oh man. As soon as they face that Philadelphia Eagles defense, if they don't hone in on it, he's going to tear them to shreds. Unfortunately, he is going to tear them to shreds. Now, that's not to say that the Philadelphia Eagles are bad. They're not even mediocre. They're great. They're very, very good, right? However, they still need to fine tune a few things, because as we continue to say week in and week out, Ricardo, there's no team that's perfect. Mm-hmm. So as long as no team is perfect, which is going to be, well, for as long as the league exists, right? We're going to be in business. You know what I mean? We're going to be in business for sure. Now, I don't have much more to say about the Eagles versus the Texans. Davis Mills is really starting to look like a very solid quarterback for the Houston Texans. Their defense is just, oh my gosh, there is a lot to be desired on their defense. And on top of that, too, the Philadelphia Eagles are still continuing to be the Philadelphia Eagles. But they have to do that post-Thanksgiving.
Yep. No, absolutely. And the Texans, dude, there's a reason they were the number 3 pick in this year's draft. Oh, yeah. They got a lot of work, a lot of holes to fill in. But I'll say this, and I hope this kid stays healthy. I'm going to knock on wood right now. They found that running back. That running back.
Oh, yeah.
That's
absolutely.
That's one must position that they have to focus on as far as for skills and key players. Now, it's going to be very interesting to see how the Eagles go in when they go at Dallas. And late games as far as, because no one's seen, they're not flying under anybody's radar anymore. Everyone knows that they are the team to beat, and they are the number 1 chance for them to go get the seed. So I'm going to be very interested, Jose, to see how they finish the season out. I'm not expecting them to be 17-0. That's okay. Like, I'm not expecting them not to lose games. What I'm expecting is for them to win the games that they should, and to show the presence that they are, and to finish the season right, so that the road to the Super Bowl goes to Philly. Like that's if I'm a coach, that's my goal at the end of the year. I don't care if we lose a couple games. I just want us to maintain that dominance, and for teams to come through us, to our home, for the postseason. For sure.
And that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah. So we're looking forward to the next few weeks, and I can't believe we're already moving into week 10, Ricardo. That's insane to me. But but going up to week 9, it seems like a lot of these teams, a very surprising finish for a lot of these teams, and I cannot wait to see what the next few weeks hold. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you like what you hear, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow our Instagram at RJTalks_11 for more updates on each one of our episodes. If you have any suggestions on how to improve this podcast, go ahead and include it in the comments below. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. Take care, guys.